guys, I'm coming to you today from a different view. I'm on my webcam today because I'm going to be going through my 2023 book thread on Twitter, and I thought I'm just going to do it with my webcam, make it easy. So that's what we're doing today. I did not have time this last year to do a 2023 like best of, worst of, biggest disappointments. I just didn't have time, and I feel like now we're like a week and some change into January. It's too late. It's too late. I can't do it. I think I'm gonna put it on my Bookstagram. So if you don't follow me there, it's the side. You can find it there. I just started it last week. I'm finally on Bookstagram. I feel like so much more informed a little bit because if you've watched my past videos, you know I've been kind of like, I don't know if this like book boycott or this review boycott is still happening. I don't know, but now that I'm on Bookstagram, I know that it's still happening. I am informed on everything. I'm glad to be there now. I have a dedicated account for it, so I'll be posting things there. You will see I have a Twitter. We're going through it. I try to keep an annual thread of my books that I read on Twitter, posting there with my reviews and stuff. If you are into books, I don't know if I would recommend you follow me on Twitter, but if you are also into Star Wars, Final Fantasy, what else am I into? Just a lot of fandoms. I'm a Dark Lena, I'm a Raylo. Like if you're into that kind of stuff, then you can follow me on Twitter, but it's generally just a fandom account. I don't have like a personal Twitter. Please follow me on Bookstagram. I would love more Bookstagram friends. I'm having a lot of fun over there right now. So we're going to be going through my 2023 book thread. And I have gone through and written down what books are under the St. Martin's Press publishing umbrella because there is still the review boycott on that company or that publisher. We're still doing a review boycott. Yeah, I will have all the links about that below. I'm not very good at articulating the issues at hand, but it does involve some not good things. I'm not far enough into the video to say like the R word and everything. There's just some not good things happening there, and we are not asking for a lot, all right? I'll put the like demands on the screen. We are not asking for St. Martin's to do a whole lot. They just need some reassurances that, you know, these actions taken by that employee are not reflected in the company itself. But so far, it's not looking really good. I'm going to get into this, and I will be skipping any books that I have that are under St. Martin's, which is a really bummer because there's one that I would really love to complain about, and there are a few that I would really love to gush about, but you know, St. Martin's ain't doing anything, so I'm not going to talk about them. Yep, so here's my book thread for this year. I'm going to be skipping the first one, so there will be a cut here. Okay, so my second read of the year was The Wolves Are Watching by Natalie Lund. I rated this 5 stars. I don't know if I would still keep it at 5 stars. I know I remembered I really liked it. I like sat down and I just read it entirely. That's all I remember. And so I think that I would go and bump it down to a 4 even because I just don't really remember it. And I remember seeing people complaining about how weird the cover was. I will agree this was a weird cover. I'm a sucker for anything that like hints at werewolves, so that's why I snagged it. But I wish I could remember it because I rated it 5 stars. Oh well. My third read was really good actually by Monica Heisey, and I rated this one 2.5 stars. This one I do remember I just didn't really like. It's about somebody going through a divorce. The female main character is not a likable person. She makes very bad choices. She makes stupid choices. She's just constantly, you're like, you're really gonna do this? I was conflicted because I was like, I'm not supposed to like this person, but I don't like this person so much that I don't like this book. There was a line there, and this was just not for me. Okay, my next book was Star Mother by Charlie N. Holmberg. I've been on a Charlie kick for a while because I love all of her books. I don't know how she does it, but she has so many series, and they're all just so like fantastical and like beautiful worlds and magic systems and stuff, and I just love them. This one I rated 5 stars. It's about somebody who gets sacrificed to the sun because every like certain amount of years the sun has to take a human bride to birth a star, and in the process the human dies because it's such a traumatic experience. Quick editor note, everything I'm about to say about this book story happens within the first 10 pages. It's part of the summary. It's not spoilers for the overall story, it's just the intro. She actually chose to sacrifice herself because she was in love with somebody, but he wasn't in love with her, and the person he was in love with was chosen to sacrifice. She chose to sacrifice herself in her place. I was like almost crying, and I was like 10 pages into the book. How do I already care this much? Maybe I'm just easily emotional. I loved this book. I rated it 5 stars. I like Star Mother a lot. So then I read The Burning Girls and Other Stories by Veronica Chenoz. I rated this one 4 stars. It was pretty heavy and it was a collection of short stories. I really could not tell you much about the stories I read in this one, and I feel bad because they were like really heavy hitting stories. They covered like some heavy topics and stuff, but I don't remember anything and I feel so bad. But I rated it 4 stars, which is kind of high for me for a short story collection. So then I read Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater, and I rated this one 5 stars. Everybody knows this series. I feel like it's all over BookTube, Book Talk, Bookstagram. It was like a BookTube darling for a really long time. If you're looking for cozy fantasy, this series is always recommended. I really like this first one, and I thought it was a really cute fairy tale. The ending just like hits for people who like feel like they themselves as they are not enough for people. Like the ending was awesome. I loved it. So then I have another Charlie Holmberg. It's The Will of the Wilds. This one I also rated 5 stars. A lot of her books are series, but this one is a standalone, and I just picked it up sight unseen. I said, it's a Charlie and Holmberg. I haven't read it. I'm going to pick it up. I loved it. I love this book. I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what the plot of this book was, but I loved it. Oh, I keep calling it The Will of the Wilds. It's The Will and the Wilds. Oh my goodness, how long? I even typed it out as Will of the Wilds. Oh my goodness, I'm terrible. Okay, and then the next book I read was The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana, and this one I rated 5 stars. Everybody's talking about this book. I said everyone I see is talking about this book, and for good reason, 100%. Just a really good, cute, comfy little fantasy. I really liked it. So then I read Long Shadow by Olivia Atwater. I think this is the third one, and I rated this one 5 stars. I don't remember what Long Shadow was about. I just remember I really liked it. I think Long Shadow is the one that is about a daughter of another character. I'm not going to go into it because it would be spoilers. And then I read I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. I did not rate this one because I feel a little bit uncomfortable rating books like this. Did I enjoy this book as much as one can really enjoy reading about the horrors that Jeanette McCurdy's life kind of was for a while? I liked her writing style. I have seen some complaints about it, that it feels like a little childish, but I liked it. I thought it was a really easy writing style to read, especially when you're reading like terrible things. I recommend it if you can get your hands on it and you want to hear about it. So then I started my journey with Ancient Magus Bride Volume 1. I really like this series. You're going to see a lot of it on this read through. I rated the first one 4 stars. Then we've got How to Keep House While Drowning. I did rate it 5 stars because I found it very helpful as somebody who struggles with depression, anxiety, executive dysfunction, those kinds of things. I found this like a very helpful read. It made me kind of emotional. The author is just so good at like writing in a kind of an understanding way. There's a part I remember where she talks about how she has a laundry basket in every room in her house because she tried to just have the laundry baskets where you're like supposed to have your laundry baskets, and they would just still have laundry everywhere. And she was like, so I just decided like I can't fight it. I'm just gonna put laundry baskets in every room. Like why would I make myself feel bad because there's laundry places when I can just put a basket there and it's where the laundry goes? It was a very nice read if you struggle with any of those things, or if you're just looking for some advice on keeping a tidy house. Then I read another Charlie Ann Holmberg. I read The Plastic Magician. This one I rated 4 stars. So she has the Paper Magician series, and then she wrote The Plastic Magician. I thought this was really cute. A very quick read for me. I liked revisiting the world. I don't remember why it wasn't quite a 5-star. This might have been around the time where I was like, okay, I can't rate everything 5 stars just because I love it. It's a really cool world. If you like interesting magic systems in this world, if you have an aptitude for magic, you have to dedicate yourself to one material. And in this one, like plastic is a new thing. She wants to be a plastic magician so she can like work with plastic and make it do things. And it's really cool. The previous series is about paper magicians. They work with paper, which is kind of like a dying art as things like plastic and rubber and stuff happen. It's a really, really cool magic system. I love it so much. So if you really like unique magic systems, definitely check out Charlie M. Holmberg's like plastic and paper magicians. Then I read the next Ancient Magus Bride 5 stars. I love this series. I'm still working my way through. I read Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett, another booktube darling. I rated this one 5 stars. I think it's really cute. It doesn't quite go under cozy for me. I feel like the term of cozy, people just use it to cover so much ground, and I'm just like, I don't believe it all. So then I read another Ancient Magus Bride, 5 stars. I love Ruth. I love Ruth so much. Please don't take Ruth away from me. Then I read volume 4, 5 stars as well. This is when I decided to take a little bit of a break from Ancient Magus Bride. I said I was gonna put a suspension on my hold for volume 5 so I can cover some other ground. This is when I started Fruits Basket. I read the first collector's edition, so it's like a big chunky one. I love Fruits Basket. It's so cute. It's adorable and it makes me very emotional. I love it. I also picked up Scott Pilgrim Volume 1. I rated it 4 stars because I love Scott Pilgrim, the movie and the idea, but 4 stars for the first one. This is a product of its time, period. So I don't know exactly when these were coming out, but just know that there's some like language and stuff. I can't exactly remember what it was, but there was language in this that made me a little bit uncomfortable because I was like, okay, this makes sense for the time that it was written, but I don't like it. I don't like it. But I still rated it 4 stars because I like the story. I think it was the second one. We'll get to that later. So then I read volume 5. I did not take a very long break, did I? 5 stars. Love it. Then I read volume 2. I rated it 3 stars for Scott Pilgrim. I think after reading like volume 2, I was just like, no, that is enough of this for me. I was trying to do like a full read before the Netflix series came out, but I couldn't do it. I just could not do it. If you think that Scott is bad in the movie, he's even worse. Everybody's a little bit worse. And Ramona is a little bit less like of a strong character. I'm not sure. She's a little bit more like easily folded. I'm not sure. I don't really know how to word it, and I read this in April, so I just didn't like it. So then I read Vampire Weekend by Mike Chen. This one I rated 4 stars. I went into this one like, I don't know what this is. I saw it at the library on a shelf. I picked it up, and this is about a vampire. It's really hard for me to explain like the full story. So like she pieced out on her family. She like ran away from home because she wanted to get into like punk music and stuff, and that was frowned on. And after she ran away from home, she got turned into a vampire. So her family just kind of considered her like a runaway. I'm so bad with this. Anyways, it's about a vampire. Her family shows up and she agrees to let the grandson stay with her for a little bit, and things start happening that are a little bit weird. There's stuff with like synthetic blood, vampire tracking apps and things. It's really, really interesting. I liked it a lot. 4 stars. I would recommend it if the premise sounds interesting. It's like vampires in the modern world, how they're trying to like survive a little bit. That's kind of what it is, and the family shows up. Okay, so then we have Fruits Basket Volume 2, 5 stars. I love it. I can't believe it's been since May since I've read Fruits Basket. But yeah, I love Fruits Basket. I would like to own them, but I kind of want to own the UK editions because they're colorful, and these ones are not colorful. All right, then I read Starfather, which is the like the second to Star Mother, but Star Mother is a standalone, and so you don't really need Starfather. Starfather is connected. I don't know if you need to read Star Mother to read Starfather, but it definitely helps to get the lore. But Starfather is, yeah, so Star Mother, it's hard to explain. Anyways, the son is sad, and he like falls in love with a human, and she's trying to transcend to godhood to be with him. And I overall really liked it. Really beautiful world. I didn't like the ending. I'm just gonna say it. It felt weird. I didn't like it. But overall, I liked the book. The ending just took it to a 4 star for me. So then I read Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. This is a 5 star read for me. I loved it. I mean, it's like a magical library. What else could I want, really? I don't know if I would say it was enemies to lovers, but it was definitely like they didn't like each other. But I really liked the book, so 5 stars for me. Then I read The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie O. 5 stars. Bravo. I love this book so much. I cannot believe I put off reading it for so long. 5 stars. Don't sleep on this one if you've heard anything about it. Read this book. It's so good. I loved it. Then I read The Mysteries of Thorn Manor. This is just a little novella that attaches to whatever that, the Sorcery of Thorns. Yeah, this is just a little novella. I rated it 4 stars because it was cute. It's basically just the house telling them to get with their feelings. Then I read another Ancient Magus Bride, Volume 6. 4 stars. I read Grave Mercy by Robin Lefevre's, 5 stars. I left no notes on this one, but I love this series. It's about assassin nuns, essentially. They are in a convent to serve death, and a lot of them have special powers because they shouldn't technically be alive. The women that come to this convent are usually like victims of some sort of violence. Like the girl that we follow in this, her mother tried to abort the fetus by taking poison, but because she was a daughter of death, she survived and lived on. She's got some scars. Every woman in the convent has some sort of story like that. She's the daughter of death and survived something probably she shouldn't survive. This is set in Brittany, back when Brittany's trying to stand alone. France is coming to take it over. They're trying to get help from like England and Russia and stuff like that. It's not going well. So the nuns are sent out to further the interests of Brittany and try to protect their duchess, I think is what she is. I don't know, but I love this series. Really good. Really loved it. There is romance. It's like kind of like the exact level of romance you would want in a book like this. It's really good. I love this series. I cannot believe I didn't know about it before this year. I read The Romantic Agenda by Claire Kahn. I rated this one 3.5 stars. I left no notes on it. I didn't like it. I don't know. I just didn't like the characters very much. I don't really remember exactly why. I've had this recommended as like, if you're asexual, like you should check this out because it's got asexual rep, and I'm glad that it has asexual rep. I myself am asexual, but I did not like this book. Then I read The Foxglove King. I promise I'm scrolling down. I rated this one 5 stars. I have seen a lot of people not liking this book for various reasons, and I think it's valid. It's all valid. 100%. Every complaint you have. I think I wouldn't rate this 5 stars if it was today. I would probably rate it more like 4. I keep going back to like the concept of the next book, and I'm just kind of like thinking about how dumb I think the main character is at the end of this book. Like, I think about it more and it definitely goes down to at least a 4, but I loved it at the time. Then I read volume 7 of Ancient Magus Bride, 5 stars. Then I read volume 8, 5 stars. Okay, we're skipping this next book because it is published under Wednesday, and I wish I could talk to you about it. It's probably one of my favorite books of the year, but unfortunately, St. Martin's is not being great. Actually, we're skipping the next 2 books that I read because they were both published under St. Martin's. One was a Wednesday, one was St. Martin's. Nope. So then I read volume 9 of Ancient Magus. All the emojis, all the emojis. I love this series. Then I read Dark Triumph, which is the book that comes after Grave Mercy. So it's Grave Mercy, Dark Triumph. This one I rated 5 stars. I loved this book. It's following a different person from the convent and her journey she's sent on. And this one's really good as well. I don't know. I love this series. Then I read Volume 10, 5 stars. It's called Dark Time. Then I read Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. You might be like, well, that's a different sweater. Poopy puppies everywhere. It's been a day. There's a reason this video is going up a day late. Anyways, back to Nimona. I rated it 5 stars. I wanted to read it before I watched the movie. I still haven't watched the movie because I don't watch a lot of movies or TV. I don't know why. I think I will, but I didn't. I don't. I rated this one 5 stars. I really liked it. I remember the ending hitting me pretty hard, but yeah, it was really good. Definitely recommend. What is next? Okay, this one, The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy by Megan Bannon. I rated this one 2 stars. This one I started in March and did not finish until July. This is probably my like biggest disappointment of 2023 because everybody was talking it up, but like I didn't like this book. He talks about her boobs all the time, and sometimes I can be okay with that kind of writing, but not here. The world building was so like weird. Like I feel like it was a cool world we were in, but I could not tell you much about it. I don't know if I just like missed all of it or what. Like it took me until the end of the book to realize that I think they were actually all driving boats. I don't know. I have no idea. And I don't understand the difference between equimare and a horse. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think they're the same thing. I think they're both animals. I don't know. I don't know. And I didn't like this book, and it's too far in the past for me to fully articulate why I didn't like this book. It was like all romance, but it wasn't like good romance to me. I don't know. I have a whole review actually. I don't usually write full reviews, but I have a whole review on Goodreads about it. Then I read Our Crooked Hearts by Melissa Albert. Hubby's walking on everything. This one I rated 4 stars. I think I sat down and read it in like one sitting. It was a really good read, I think. A solid 4 stars for me. It's hard for me to explain. There's like magic involved. Somebody's mother's past comes to haunt the daughter and the mother, and I didn't really like the romance. I think this was a YA, and I know it was a YA. I didn't like the romance aspect. It felt rushed and sudden and weird, but the rest of it I really liked a lot. Then I read Love Theoretically by Ellie Hazelwood. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Not sure why I decided to put 4 out of 5. I think every other one just says the star number. Every once in a while I forget what I'm doing. I almost didn't pick this one up because I did not like Love on the Brain. I would go so far as to say that I almost hated that one. I wasn't expecting anything good here. That's why I got it at the library. All my other Ellie Hazelwoods are from Book of the Month. I just didn't even pick this one up because I didn't think I would like it at all. But okay, I loved it. 4 out of 5. Very cute to me. Very cute. There's certain things that Ellie Hazelwood does that I don't like, and I will go into that in a February video where I'm actually gonna finally read The Love Hypothesis. We'll talk more about Ellie Hazelwood then. Then I read Untethered Sky by Fonda Lee. This is a novella. I gave it 5 stars, which is pretty high for a novella for me. It was so good. It's about a world where there are giant hawks, and there are people who work with them like people work with actual hawks, where they put them on the thing and they got little hats on and they go fly for you and do stuff. People bond with these things. I thought they were going to ride them, but no, it is all like they send them out to do things. It was really good for a little novella. All I wanted from it was more of the world. It's not like I felt like I needed more of this specific story, although I would love more about these characters on some level. But I just love the world that this author built in this small little package. Like, I would love to hear more. Very good, very good. And then I read Mortal Heart, which is the final book in the series. I rated this one 5 stars. I loved it. I really liked how it all wrapped up. I think the series is an adult series. There's not a lot of spice, if any, that I can really think of. Maybe that's why I like it so much. I'm not a super spicy reader. I recommend this series. I wouldn't say there's any enemies to lovers or anything like that, but there is some good romance that happens and some good political intrigue and action, and yeah, I like it a lot. Then we have Cult Classic by Sloane Crossley. I do not remember where I heard about this one, but I rated it 4.5 stars. This book is about a woman who just starts seeing her ex-boyfriends everywhere, and she just is like reminiscing about what went wrong with them, and is the guy that she's with the right person for her? And so she's just going through like her past and thinking about things, what she wants and what she needs, and there's some like weird mystical thing with it. I'm not even going to talk about that part, but in general it's just she starts seeing her exes around, and it's very interesting. It's very almost like surrealist to me. I don't know the exact definition for surrealist writing, but I feel like I should look it up so that I can stop using it incorrectly if I am. And it makes me want to read more Sloane Crossley. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I feel like I have to be in like the right mood to read this kind of book. I read volume 11 of Ancient Magus Bride, 5 stars, still loving it. Then I read Uprooted by Naomi Novik. I rated it 4 stars. The summary on the book cover covers like so little of the actual book plot. So once I got past that, I did not know where we were going. I didn't know. I liked this book a lot, but I went into it because somebody told me that this was one of their favorite romances of all time. And so I went in expecting a sort of romance, and maybe not an enemies to lovers romance, but like a I don't like you very much to lovers romance, but I didn't feel like there was much romance at all. So it lost a star for me, I think because of false advertising. That one came for me personally because of my expectations I had on it. But it is a good book. I really want to read Spinning Silver and some of Naomi Novik's other books soon, someday. I read Happy Place. I didn't realize this was controversial. I see people like apologizing for not liking this one. 3 stars for me. It was a good, cute read, but it wasn't anything special or spectacular. Like, I really liked Book Lovers and Beach Read. I really liked both those. I thought they had really interesting ideas behind them and they were well done and everything. But Happy Place, the whole time I was sitting there like, what do you mean you didn't tell your best friends that you aren't with this person anymore? Like, why? I did not like it very much. Then I read Snow Glass Apples by Colleen Doran and Neil Gaiman. I rated it 5 stars. Beautiful art, haunting story. This is a very short little graphic novel, I guess. I would check the trigger warnings for this one. It's beautiful art. It's so beautiful. I saw somebody doing a cosplay of this dress, and that's why I looked this up to read it. The story is very haunting. I always love fairy tales being like a little bit subverted. This is about the queen in Snow White, but it's kind of like, if you look at her, you would think she is evil. She's doing these things for a reason because Snow White is like an inhuman monster. It was really interesting, really beautiful, tragic story, very short, but definitely check the trigger warnings because there are things like incest. What is it called? When you sleep with a dead body, that thing, just like very heavy topics. And because it is a graphic novel, it is illustrated, so just know to check the trigger warnings on this one. Okie dokie. Then I read Thornhedge by T. Kingfisher. This was my first book by her. I rated this 5 stars. This is a little novella. 10 out of 10. No notes. I love this book. I love this book. It's about, what does she call herself? Like Frog or something? Like a fairy-ish creature protecting a castle that is covered in thorns and briars because Sleeping Beauty is in there. But again, it's another kind of subverted trope of what if the princess is cursed for a reason, and there's a knight that shows up and is like, well, there's a princess there, I have to try to save her. And she's like, well, maybe you shouldn't. And it's all about that. It's just a little novella. I loved it so much. I loved it. Then I read Same Time Next Summer by Annabelle Monaghan. I rated this 4.5 stars. I thought this was gonna be like a rom-com kind of thing, like similar to like Emily Henry style books or cute romances. That is not what this was. That is not what this was. This is a very good read. I really liked it, but it was a lot sadder and self-reflected than I expected it was going to be. It's like a girl gets her heart broken when she's a teenager, and she like refuses to come back to this beach house because that's where the guy that broke her heart is, and she goes on and lives her life. She gets engaged to this guy that she really likes. Her parents want her to come back to see the vacation area. They want her to get married there, and when she's back, she runs into that guy, and it's kind of her being like self-reflective. Is she happy with who she is now and the way that she's living and all this stuff? And it's very self-reflective. It's sad. It's good though. I really liked it. Just know that it's not going to be like a fun rom-com at the beach. Okay, then I read Mr. Magic by Kirsten White. This one was not as creepy as I thought it was going to be. I rated this one 3.5 stars. I don't want to get this smushed. Okay, because I read 2 books with slightly similar references. No. Ideas? I don't know. There's a word that I can't think of. The word is almost there and it's bothering me. Premises. I did it. Okay. I read 2 books with slightly similar premises. The other one I liked way more. We'll talk about it later. This one, 3.5 stars. It's about like a kids show. Nobody can quite fully remember the kids show, but it did exist and nobody has copies of it. It went off the air super suddenly a long time ago, and it's about the kids, the people, they're now adults, that were on the show getting together for like a podcast to talk about the show. There's like a lot of creepy stuff happening around the show, and it ends very interestingly. Yes. 3.5 stars. It was very mid for me. Then I read Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. I rated 3.5 stars. Yeah, I almost DNF'd this around 40% because it felt like something I'd already read before. I feel like you run into that a lot with the contemporary romance genre. Pushed through. I just thought the characters were cute. Okay, I liked the characters a lot. And I really liked it because it was minimal miscommunication. And I struggle so much with contemporary romances when it's just like they don't talk to each other. I feel like every Ali Hazelwood book, the plot hinges on the fact that every time the characters try to talk to each other, the female main character is like, no, I know exactly what you're going to say. This is what you're going to tell me, and you don't have to tell it to me. Okay, thanks, bye. And then leaves. Like, I hate books where they just won't talk to each other and one character is like preventing any communication, and then that's what the problem is. This book did not have that. It had minimal miscommunication. They talked about stuff. It was great. And there also wasn't really any explicit content. It did the like fade to gray anytime anything was happening. And as somebody who's not like a super spicy reader, I appreciated that, but I also don't really care because I'll just skim them if they're there, but just in case it bothers you. So then I read A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson, which again, another controversial read maybe. I don't know. I rated this one 4 stars. I can see people's complaints about it being in second person. Yeah, I feel that. But this was a one sitting read for me. I just sat down and read it, and I didn't realize it was a series when at the time, and I feel like that's what happens to everybody with this book. Like, you don't realize that there's actually going to be another book. I'm really intrigued to read the next book because I'm kind of like, what are we doing? But I thought this was a good read. Very like moody. I liked it. 4 stars. And then I also read the short story. It came with this book, but I counted it as a separate thing because it is a separate entity. It's considered like book 1.5, and it's about the characters from this book like meeting up later. 2.5 stars. Felt a little unnecessary, but I'm imagining that that's there because of what's going to happen in book 2. Like, I feel like that has to have a purpose, but hey, who knows? Maybe it was just an excuse for an assumed orgy or something like that. I don't know. Then I read Juniper and Thorn by Ava Reed. 3.75. This must be about the time I started on Storygraph, because otherwise I'm not doing quarter stars. I liked this book, but I almost DNF'd it at 40%. Definitely check the trigger warnings. Yeah, I liked it. I wasn't like, I love this. I like her writing style. I just don't always do well with the like, I don't want to call it a dumb female main character. It's kind of like a super sheltered, naive female main character. Overall, I kind of liked it. 3.75. Oh, then I read My Roommate is a Vampire by Jenna Levine. This one I rated 4 stars. I think if I went back, I would maybe lower it to 3 just because at the time I was reading this, I was sick, so I was on NyQuil, and so I might just not be remembering things very well, but the end felt really rushed, very sudden, very odd. Just the premise is very interesting to me. Interesting in like a, I don't know about that, but I don't know. I thought it was cute. A cute little read. So 4 stars, maybe 3, maybe 3.5 if I was gonna go back and change it. I think we're nearing the end of the year. Oh my god, this is gonna be a long video. I'm so sorry. Then I read One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake. This is my first ever Olivia Blake read. I rated it 5 stars. I think if I went back, I would maybe do a 4.5 because I found out that this was a novella that she extended, or like a short book that she extended. And it does kind of feel that way. It definitely kind of feels that way. But at the same time, like, I loved the characters and I loved the idea. And I'm not usually a big fan of Romeo and Juliet romances because I don't like when people die at the end. I thought this was an interesting take on it. And I love how Olivia Blake writes. I just love her writing. I don't know. I liked it. 5 stars, maybe 4.5 if I was really going to go back and change things. But you know what? I'm not right now. Then I read Any Duchess Will Do by Tessa Dare. 3.5 stars. Very cute little read. Exactly what I wanted when I was reading it, but I always hate the trope that's like men are stupid idiot clowns. They do something really stupid and to me that would be somewhat unforgivable, but we're kind of like, oh, we'll give him a pass because he's a man and emotions are really hard for him, and you know, like his dad was really mean to him, so it's okay. Like we'll just pass. We'll just give him a pass. It's pretty common, I feel like, in this genre, but I still don't like it. So 3.5 stars. Then I read Witch of Wild Things by Rachel Vasquez Gilliland. There's a lot of straight lines there. I cannot parse it. 4 stars. I want to call this one like cozy fantasy, but at the same time, like the summary will tell you that somebody's sister has died. So I'm not sure exactly what the definition of cozy fantasy is. This was a good read. They call it like a swoony romance. Does it say there? Yeah, it says swoony romance. This is not a swoony romance, my friends. There was no swooning here. Like, is the swoony romance in the room with us right now? Like, maybe I'm not a good judge, but I still really liked it. I still rated it 4 stars because the magic was really interesting and the plot was good, but I just, swoony romance who? Where's this romance? So many times they're like, this book has such good romance. And I'm just like, what romance, my friends? This one was Red Rabbit by Alex Grecian. I don't know if this person has any other books, but I kind of want to look them up. I had no idea what I was getting into. I just saw it recommended in my library's like magazine. This was daunting to me because it's like a Wild West horror. Not my wheelhouse. Oh, there's a beetle over there. Beetles! I really liked this. 4.5 stars. There's like cannibals, magic, cowboys. I wish I could remember the exact plot. They're trying to take this stagecoach somewhere specific. Okay, because there's a witch. This person is trying to get to the witch. They're trying to take this child to the witch. And it's just like this whole ragtag group. And the way that it kind of comes together at the end, it is kind of sad. So just go into that knowing that it is a little bit sad or a lot of bit sad, but it was good. I really, really liked it. I'm very glad that I stepped out of my comfort zone to read this one. Then I read the graphic novel Roaming by Jillian Tamaki and Mariko Tamaki. I think they are cousins. I rated it 4 stars. This book I have an interesting relationship with because it took me right back to when you're first like in college and you're out of your parents' house and you're finally kind of able to come into your own. I did not like some of these characters because sometimes when you're in that period of time, you are not likable. I rated this 4 stars because very relatable. You know, you make decisions, you make choices. Maybe they don't make you look good. Maybe they're not good choices, but you know, here we are making them. So I thought it was really interesting. I definitely recommend it. Then I read, oh my God, I just skipped a bunch of stuff. Then I read Our Wives Under the Sea by Julie Armfield. This one I've seen so many people talking about for the last year or so. Everybody is always kind of like, it's a little bit mid. And I was like, I need to see for myself. And you know what? Everybody's right. This is a 3.5 star for me. Very mid. The writing is so good. I love how it's written. It's super vibey. It's super haunting. This is definitely what I would consider horror. If you struggle with body horror or thalassophobia, like this one had me in its sights. All right. It knew it was coming for me, but it was like such a slow progression, like not even progression. It was just slow moving. I think I said about 60%. I was just like, can we just get there? Can we just get where we're going, man? It was definitely an interesting read. I'm glad I read it, but yeah, pretty mid to me. I read Wolf Gone Wild by Juliet Cross. I have a whole video on this one. This is what inspired me to get onto BookTube. 2.5 stars. Did not like it. Our main male character is a werewolf and his wolf has a name and it's Alpha. Okay. I have one friend who is reading this whole series and like completely loving it. And I'm like, good for you. I'm so happy for you. I wish I could, but I can't. 2.5 stars. Then I read volume 13 of The Ancient Magus Bride, 4 stars, loving the college arc, so good. Then I read Knock Knock Open Wide by Neil Sharpson, which I do have a reading vlog for this. It's supposed to be coming out in a couple weeks, hopefully. 4.25 stars. I love this book. I love this book. I don't remember exactly why I rated it 4.25 stars. I think it was the ending. I was not the biggest fan of the ending. This book also has a premise of like a kid's show, but it is way different from the other kid's show book that I was talking about earlier, Mr. Magic. 2 very different premises, both touching on kids' TV. Then I read The Druid's Call by E.K. Johnston. I did not realize this was E.K. Johnston when I picked it up. Otherwise, I would not have picked it up. Don't really like E.K. Johnston. And I think I talk about this in a reading vlog, like my fall vlog. But I rated it 1.5 stars. It was just so boring. I was super excited to read about a tiefling druid coming into her own, but it was just really boring. And there wasn't really much conflict or anything. It was like very boring. Then I read To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. 4 stars. I really loved it. I think this was a really good execution of enemies to lovers. It's about a siren. You know, it's kind of like a Little Mermaid retelling-ish, like renovation, reimagining. There we go. Words are so hard. If you like darker fairy tale retellings, definitely give this one a check out. Then I also read Hunt on Dark Waters by Katie Robert. I did not like this book at all. 1 star. I didn't like anything. I read These Fleeting Shadows by Kate Alice Marshall, which I think is up for one of my favorite reads of the year. 5 stars. Amazing. I don't know. I loved this. I loved this. Definitely check it out. It gives like Bly Manor vibes because it's a sapphic haunted house with an emotional ending. Really good. Really good. She has to live in this house for a year in order to gain her inheritance and things happen. Then I read Masters of Death by Olive E. Blake. I wanted to like this one so much. I think this was in one of my vlogs. 3.5 stars. I loved the characters. It was a very fun read. But I think they just tried to do too much in this book. And it's already a big book. I almost wish it had been like a series. Why did it all have to be in one book? We skipped a book because it is published under St. Martin's Press. And I'm really sad because I really wanted to complain about it. But what can you do? Because St. Martin's is not doing anything. Then I read Well Traveled by Jen DeLuca. This is the 4th book in the Well Met series. 4 stars for this one. This was really cute. And I think that the like conflict portion of the romance. A lot of times those portions of the romances will like hit me really hard and I'll be like really sad. But this one, you knew it was coming the whole time. Just because of the setup, you knew that this specific situation was happening. And so when it happened, you were kind of like prepared. I think it was really cute. I like how it ended. I love this series. If you like contemporary romance, if you like Renaissance fairs, definitely give this one a check out. The fifth one I think has been confirmed for this year. Okay, then I read Final Fantasy Viv. This should be XIV instead of Viv. I'm so stupid. Chronicles of Light. I didn't rate this one. This is just a bunch of short stories from Final Fantasy 14 just to flesh out the characters a little bit. It's nothing like super plot relevant because all of that is in the game. It's just some nice little side stories. And it was cute. I loved it. And there's little illustrations. So then I read Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree. This is the prequel to Legends and Lattes. I rated this one 5 stars. I think I liked it more than Legends and Lattes. I just loved Fern and Pot Roast, and all the characters were like so good. But I also just love that it revolved around books. I think that's what got me. 5 stars, very cute, very comfy, cozy again, and I want so many pastries. Then I got into my Christmas books. So this is The Christmas Guest by Peter Swanson. I rated it 3 stars, kind of like a gothic Christmas novella. Half of it's in journal entries, the other half is like current day, like what happens after those journal entries. I liked it. It was a nice little read. Yeah, it makes me want to look up other Peter Swanson books. Actually, I think I was looking up Peter Swanson books at the library. Then I read The Christmas Appeal by Janice Hallett, 2 stars. I think it was a fun premise, but I did not like the fact that this is a mystery and you as the reader do not have all the tools to solve it yourself. I think that's like the most fun part about reading a mystery or a thriller is trying to figure out what's going on. And in this one, you don't even know a certain character that's involved exists until at the end it's revealed that they exist. And then it's like, oh, that's what happened. And it's like, oh, okay. All right. I couldn't have figured that out. Then I read The Cloisters by Katie Hayes, 5 stars. This book was almost entirely vibes, and the vibes just hit me really good. If you like art history, if you like gothic-y, moody books, definitely check out The Cloisters. This was a debut, so I'm very excited to see where she goes from here. I loved this book so much. Then I read Night's Edge by Liz Karen. I rated it 3 stars. Interesting premise, vampirism by virus. The main character was just really dumb half the time. Just kind of dumb. Didn't really like that very much, and just a meh for me. It's the start of a series, but I don't know if I will continue it because the ending was good enough. So don't know if I need to. Then I read The Kingdom of Sweets by Erica Johansson, and I read this one 2 stars. I did not like this. As I said, I did not like this. The first part of the book, like the first 2 acts, I was here for it, and then it just lost me. They call this like a dark reimagining of the Nutcracker. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. 2 stars. Then I read Christmas and Other Horrors, a winter solstice anthology, which was edited by Ellen Datlow. Lots of interesting authors in there. I only rated it 3 stars. Nothing really like horrified me or freaked me out that much. Nothing really like jumped out as something where I was like, ooh, I should look up more by this author. So I was kind of like really bummed. I was really hoping to find some more horror authors to look up, but like, no. But then thank goodness for The Christmas Murder Game hitting me with a 4.5 star read. Super unexpected. I really liked this, and now I want to look up other things that she's written. I know she has another Christmas murder mystery. It's called The Murder on the Christmas Express. I'm going to order that so I can have it for next Christmas. I just love this. I wouldn't call this like a fun read because, you know, like people are dying, but it was really interesting the way that they incorporated Christmas because it was like the 12 days of Christmas and every day there was a new mystery to solve. And I definitely did figure out who was behind it pretty early on, but there are definite reasons why the main character that we're following did not figure that out. It was good. I liked it a lot. Then I read The Library of Shadows by Rachel Moore. I almost just DNF'd this, and part of me wishes I had. Okay, I rated this 2 stars. I liked the ending. I thought the end was fun. Once the action started happening, I was like, okay, this is fun. Hi friends, editing Melo here again. I just want to pop in and say my explanation doesn't make sense, so I'm editing it over it, not a lot happened in this book. All they did was the same thing over and over and over again until at one point it worked. That's it. The whole book was, we go to the library at night, we talk about stuff, and we hope that this works, and it doesn't until it does. I thought it was just really boring because it was just that over and over and over again for like 300 pages, where they would like try to do something and nothing would come out of it. Like nothing, not even character growth. I'm just like, okay, then why did we even do this? It was just so hard for me to read. It felt like a chore. Yeah, 2 stars. I just wish that it had the energy of the like final 25% for the first 75%, because the final 25% was like, yeah, stuff's happening, we're doing it, it's fun. I mean, I knew who the like baddie was immediately. There is no other way. It can only be this person, and the main character is like, I don't know, and I'm like, well, I do. You're just being dumb. It was an interesting premise, but 2 stars. I skipped the one before this because it is also published by Wednesday Books, which is under St. Martin's, and I wish that I could talk to you about it because I really loved it, but alas, again, I must repeat that the boycott is not asking for much. They just want a little accountability and reassurance. We have made it to the end. Oh my god, the second half recording is almost 45 minutes. I didn't think it was going to be this long. Anyways, the last book I read this year was The Savior's Book Cafe in Another World, Volume 1 by Umiya and art by Reiko Sakurada. 5 stars. End of the year on a high note. This was so cute. It was so cute. It was so cute. Okay. It's about somebody who gets isekai'd, but she is like an adult. She's like in her 30s. She just wants to read her books and live her life. And this like god entity is like, hey, I'm giving you the chance of a lifetime, a new life as a hero in another world. Isn't that awesome? And she was like, maybe if you'd gotten me like a decade earlier, but I really don't want to do this. Can you find somebody else? And they were like, no, we've picked you, like you're going. She's like, okay, do I get to pick anything? And so she essentially goes to the new world. She's got like these big magic powers, but all she wants is to open a book cafe and serve food and live life and read her books. And that's kind of what she does, and it's so cute, and I love it so much, and I just love it. Okay, it's so cute. Definitely check it out. I'm super excited. I'm gonna have to like get my hands on the next couple of volumes because I love it so much. Okay, there we go. That was all my books from this year. How many did I read? I read 85 books. My goal was 50, so I blew past it, and I don't even think I would say I read too much manga, but I did read a lot of Ancient Magus Bride, that's for sure. Yeah, so 85 books out of 50, that's pretty good. So I bumped my goal up to 75 for next year. It's my highest goal I've ever had, so I'm very excited to see if I can meet it. But I think overall, this was a pretty decent year of reading for me. I just had like a few flops and a couple disappointments, but overall, I started some series I really loved. I read more by authors I really loved. I found some new authors that I'm super excited to check out. I think I branched out to a lot of genres that you don't normally see me in because I tend to be like a romantasy girly. This is my first year of really trying to read like horror and thrillers and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it was a really good reading year for me. I'm super excited to see what 2024 has to bring and do some nostalgia reads, and Cubby's blocking my light a little bit. I'm just super excited for 2024. How was your year of 2023? Did you have a good reading year? Was it a mid-year? Do you just not even want to think about it? You're just like, it was a year and I'm ready to move on. Let me know in the comments. I'll see you guys later this week for more Winterween stuff. I'm recording a vlog for that, so you'll see that at the end of this week. I'm very excited for that vlog. Thank you so much for hanging out today. Please like and subscribe. I would love to hear your thoughts about your year or any books that I read this year down in the comments. I'll also have links for the St. Martin's review boycott information down below as well if anybody wants to look into it. I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, bye-bye. Bye.